Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this afternoon show. My name is Stephen Osu, all the way from Togo, Togo. You know how we do it. We are live again today on Ignite Transformation TV, the platform that brings you the best of the best, very best of the very best, you know. Well, as you know, it is of our daily ritual. It is of our custom to go around the world to bring you the very best of the best. Somebody that's gonna leave you with a message that you go back home and get to thinking. That even on your way driving to work or whatever, even in line while you're standing at the KFC or the McDonald's, you will be thinking about that very message. And you know what I'm about. I'm about bringing you the message that will pull away from you the confidence, that will give you the keys to success, that will make you step away from the three darkest demons of mankind here, self-doubt and low self-esteem. And today, I've got somebody for you that is all the way from Canada, Toronto. But those are not her regions, okay? Her name is Rasie Bamigbade, all right? So she was married to a Nigerian cousin of mine. But here's the thing. It's just not a cute looking face, okay? She has done stuff, right? So Rasie Bamigbade was born in Sierra Leone, and that's where she spent her first 10 years. So she basically had the experience of the wrath of Africa, going to war, tough challenges. She was lucky enough to immigrate to Canada, where she built her life from scratch. And that led her to very senior position as ops manager. And she worked with some major companies like Starbucks, McDonald's, and you name it. But today, remember, it's almost never about the journey, but the destination. What impact are you making? What actions are you taking to leave a mark behind? And I can tell you something, she's doing her part. Today, she's a leadership coach and has coached thousands of people out there. Her message is resonating and making an impact every single day. And the reason why she's here today is to share with you the good news. And the good news is she's got a book coming out very soon. Okay, so I just gave you a brief introduction about her so that I don't take anything away from this lovely lady at all. Because she's here today, as you can see on the screen. So if you are ready to ramble with me to dive into this ignition of your transformation, let us welcome right now Miss Rasie Bamigbade. Hi there, lady. How are you doing?
Oh my gosh, thank you, Steve. Your energy is just flowing. I love it. Love it.
Thank you, Rasie. You are awesome. Look, first of all, I just want to thank you so much for making time to come on this platform today. Personally, I always respect every single body that putting themselves out there, that believe they have a voice, right? They have a message to share. Look, you just never know what you're gonna say, when you're gonna say, and who's gonna listen to it. There is something somewhere you say somehow that will save somebody's life today. All right. So I just want to say thank you again, Rasie, for making the time to be here today and to share with us the content of the book, the life journey, and what you've been about. So with no time to waste, Rasie, please share with us who you are, what your values are, and how did you get to where you are today?
Oh wow. I was born and raised in Sierra Leone. Very, very proud of that. And I moved to Canada at a very young age and lived out here with a guardian. So literally no family that I've known for, my lifetime at the time. And going through that, I'm a very trusting person with growing up and up to today. Like I'm still learning how to maneuver around trust. And some of my very tough experiences that I had is because I trusted. And then those were, I usually call it the big L. I have a lot of big L as in learning throughout my life journey.
Right.
And working through so from high school, I got awarded the inspirational award. So basically, it's the student that most represents the spirit of the grad class, which I'm still humbled by that, and it's not something I expected. But I just have love for people in very different ways.
Right.
And then I worked my way up through McDonald's, and I got the opportunity to be a restaurant manager. And that was the whole experience on its own, because when I was in that environment, there wasn't, like, especially in the stores I worked at and moved up within the ranks, there wasn't anybody that looked like me. So it was definitely like I was paving the way, but then at the same time I fear responsibility of succeeding as a Black young woman, right? And yeah, so after McDonald's, I got an opportunity to work with Starbucks. I worked at Vancouver International Airport, all in operations manager role. And I'm so grateful for the challenges, because if I did not experience those challenges, I wouldn't be where I am today, helping my clients succeed. So I'm a leadership coach now, and I help leaders lead their teams more effectively, starting with self-leadership. I strongly believe that it starts with us leading our lives and walking the talk, and transforming that into the teams that we lead, our community, and our businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just nearly published my book. Woo! Super excited. And it's called Leading Your Truth, now on Amazon. Yeah, that's a bit of my introduction.
Great, it's great. Rasie, thank you so much. Hey, look, I've got a few questions for you right now from your introduction. So first question is, you said something, you said, even though you were working, very hard, committed, dedicated, with passion for you to grow, climb through the ladders, at the same time, you were afraid. So what was that fear like, and how were you able to balance the fear but still hold on to that desire to grow and to break through? Because like you said, that, the truth is there was not many Black women that have done what you have done, right? So first of all, what was the environment like? Okay, and secondly, how were you able to navigate that, and still break away from that fear and while keep going at the same time?
First, I wouldn't necessarily say I've breaking away from that fear, because it does come up once in a while.
Right.
For me, when I moved to Canada, and I actually share like a story in my book. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'll just kind of go over the top of it, the surface area. But when I was in high school, I remember my first day and being in an environment where you literally don't see anybody that looks like you.
Okay.
And you go home and it's like not the same thing where what you've been used to back home, like I lived with 20 plus people in one home, because it's just a normal thing back home that we do, right? It's big family and everybody's family, regardless of, cousin or friend. So that shift in environment. And when I started working at McDonald's, the environment was, I always had to work 2 times as hard than anybody else, because that's just how it is, and that's just what it is. And I remember each time I get promoted, I'm always shocked, because I'm like, oh, like I know what I'm capable of, but because of the environment I'm in, I question, is this like, am I worth this? Like, can I get it done? Until I start doing it and helping other people grow through their leadership journey as well, then I gained confidence, right? And for me, the fear, what kept me grounded and kept my passion alive was my why. Because I'm like, if there was this young Black girl looking at me, and, and they're like, oh, she did that, you know, that that keeps me going, because everything I do, I'm paving the way. I'm helping that other Black girl look at me and say, I can do that too, right? And that's why I put my face on the cover of my book. I got like some resistance from like people who are closest to me, that it was good intention, like, oh, I don't think you should put your face on the cover. But for me, I always have this practice of every decision I make and I get insight from other people or advice, I go back to my why. My why is so strong. It's not about me. It's about like my community. It's about the generations that are coming through,
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Rasie. Friedrich Nietzsche. Friedrich Nietzsche says that if you know your why, you can bear anyhow. Right? Purpose is the thing that does the thing. Rasie, talking about your why, and you spoke about confidence, that knowing your why gave you confidence. So, what is the confident mentality like? So, imagine if there was a young girl that is in, I mean, perhaps right now in that position that you are in. What should she do? How should she think? Beside knowing her why, or even better, how can she find her why so that she can have that boost of confidence? What would you say?
Ooh, I would say you got to go within, right? Really reflect on what things am I good at. I think our strengths really helps us gain that confidence, and really knowing like, okay, these are the things that I value. So for instance, it could be family's value, doing things for your community is a value, building strong relationship based on, trust and integrity, and aligning those, making sure your values align with like what you want to do with your life, and let that lead you. I always say this to every single one of my clients: your why has to be stronger than you. Your why cannot be, oh, because I want to make this much money, so I'm going to help these many people. It's not that way. It's like, what are you doing for the other people that you're leading? For me, that's like super important, because either I choose to or not, I'm in a leadership role. The moment I stepped in and I applied to at McDonald's saying, I want a job here, I stepped into a leadership role, because not only, moving through my management roles, but the new hires that get hired after me are looking at me and seeing, what am I doing? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, go where there's no path and leave a trail, right? Leave a trail that.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the spirit. That's the spirit, Rasie. Rasie, tell me quickly, right? So, um, what? How would you define leadership? What is your own definition, or conception, should I say, of leadership? What's the title of your book again?
It's leading your truth.
Leading your truth, right? So first of all, what is leadership for you, and why the title Leading Your Truth?
I chose leading your truth because of my experience and my journey through different leadership roles. I I had experiences in the past, and it gets me. I get like a little emotional when I think of this. There were situations where I dimmed my light to make other people feel comfortable, and I think it's that compassionate side of me that I have for others and helping people grow. And every time I dim my light, people were comfortable, but I became uncomfortable, right?
Rashi,
And
tell us about this situation, right? Like, tell us the story. You want to know, like, what was the
yeah,
circumstance like? Who? I mean, okay, you don't have to tell us who, but what was the feeling like? What was happening exactly? What was the situation? The whole map of the situation that forced you to be in your life, therefore perhaps
yeah,
hence your confidence as well. Okay, so tell us what was the situation like? What happened?
yeah. I'll give an example. It's like I'll be in a meeting. Actually, I'll do a specific meeting when I worked at Vancouver International Airport, where we'll be there was like one meeting where we're all in the room and I start to speak up, and I've embraced speaking up with thinking of solutions, being constructive and very intentional. So I have notes when I go into a meeting of things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So when I start speaking up, there were times where I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I get shut down, and times where I'll have my hand up and somebody else will be called upon that doesn't have their hand up. So that really, oh, Steve, it's like in those situations I felt not belonging. I felt dismissed. It gets me it really it uplifts like emotions and stuff, and those are things that I have to go back to and heal from, right? And so from that situation, I'm like, oh, okay, if I want something, I need to like not be so vocal and I'll be assertive. And I don't want to come across as the angry Black girl, you know? And so stepping out of those meetings, and I started to show up differently and not speaking as much. And that's when I kind of felt lost in myself because I wasn't showing up in my truth. I was doing it to make other people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And when I started working at Starbucks, actually in Fort McMurray, I started working direct. I directly reported to a leader, named Enid, and she showed me in her actions how to show up in my truth and be authentic, and let just be myself and lead with that. Lead my team with that. If I'm gonna be emotional, I'm gonna let the emotions out. But it's like it's for a good cause. You're letting your team know that you're human, that you feel things, you can be vulnerable, but at the same time, we're focusing on solutions on how we pivot forward. So that's when a lot of things shifted for me when I saw somebody else doing it and empowering me to do that for my team.
Mm. So, would you then say that one key element of leadership is mentorship?
Um, Mentorship is it's definitely key.
Okay.
Um, for me, like my like if it wasn't for her, to be honest, I think I would have been in a different place. And even staying in touch with her up to this while. So mentorship is definitely key because I can go back. It's great to go back and connect with, mentors that really know you from a stage where you became vulnerable again, and show up in a different way that it's in your truth, and just letting that flow because now you're not acting like you're not wondering like, oh, how is this person going to perceive this the way I show up, right? Definitely mentorship is it's key. Yeah.
So,
And I'm yeah.
continue, continue.
I truly and I'm very passionate about that self leadership part because if we're I for me, if I'm not leading my life, if I'm not doing the things that I'm telling my clients now, like, hey, try this, I it's not my truth, right?
Yeah. So Rasie, here's the thing. So, in your case, you were lucky enough to have somebody mentor you, Innate mentor you. Now, what about? I mean, it's through Innate you are able to, what I say, reconnect with your truth, right? And therefore walk the path of your truth and rediscover your sense of leadership. Now, what happens in the case that somebody does not have the opportunity to have the likes of the Innate to be by their side and hold their hand and say, hey, wake up, all right? This is where you walk on. Get back to yourself. I want you to be your authentic self. Be there and drive them, remind them every single day of what they could be. What if somebody does not have lots of Innate on their side? What would you drop on them right now? What can they do? How should they think? What is the formula for them to
Yeah.
still reconnect with themselves even without Innate by their side? Because look, the truth is we don't always have the Innate on our side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a couple things I would suggest, and one is my story, and the other is hiring an expert to help you with it. So the first thing actually, so in my book, Leading Your Truth, I share 8 authentic steps in reaching your most authentic self in your leadership journey, right? So it's basically my story put into 8 steps of how I did that for myself. And I call it a starting point for any leader that wants somewhere to start. And especially if you're stuck in that same circle effect, like you just keep doing circles around your problems, like you overwhelm and then you're not overwhelmed and then you're overwhelmed again. But it's like the same things keep coming up and they bottling up. Leading your truth is it's a great starting point. It's not a guarantee for results, because that's where the second part comes in is hiring an expert. So it could be a coach. So I hired a business coach. My business coach's name is Fabienne Raphael, and she helped me from my coaching business to, and I'm just stretching, like my mind, I continue to stretch my my self leadership and my leading my business and helping my clients. I continue to elevate that because I think if you don't have the mentor, you can go out and seek it. So that's another thing too that I struggle with in the beginning of my leadership journey is asking for help because I'm Miss Independent. Like I don't ask for things. I work hard, like no matter what. So shifting that mentality, like it's okay to do it with my village and with my community, that helped me out a lot. And up to now, I even rely on my other like-minded coaches that I've connected with and built strong relationships with. When I get stuck, I'm like, hey, can you help me out with this? This is where I'm stuck. So it takes a village for sure, and don't hesitate to ask for help.
All right. Sounds great, Rasie. I love that. Look, we hanging out, ladies and gentlemen, with Rasie Bamigbade all the way from Canada, Toronto. Am I correct?
Vancouver.
Oh, yeah.
It's all good. West Coast.
Vancouver, all right, Vancouver. Well. Rasie Bamigbade is a leadership coach and very soon releasing her first book, Leading Your
Truth.
Right? Am I correct? Leading Your Truth, right?
Yes.
Right. So Rasie Bamigbade, if you do not know, is originally from Sierra Leone. She grew up there to the age of 10, about that, and she moved to Canada with her guardian. So look, don't tell me about tough life, all right? Don't tell me about tough life either, because she knows what it is to grow up with little means and to make your way through, to swing your way through from nothing to the very top. Being a little Black young girl, she fought her way through all the way to senior management position in very top companies. And she loves leadership. She loves unleashing her leadership spirit and empowering others to do the same. And that's why she's on here today. Rasie Bamigbade, we are back to you. Look, today, all right, there are over 88,000 leadership books on Amazon, okay, and more than 120,000 all over the internet. Okay, so my question to you is, what makes leading your truth different?
It's different because it's my story.
Yeah.
It's I share some intimate stories of things that I'm still healing from that happen in my leadership journey. And I am a huge advocate for taking action and doing the work that it takes to get the results. And it's something I actually I share a lot with my clients, is that if you have a goal, don't plan and say, okay, June the 1st, I'm going to start. You can actually start right now. And that brings me to, something that I shared in my book, is that every 24 hours that goes by in our leadership journey, and we decide to stay stuck in the state of not leading and showing up in our truth, that's 24 hours gone and it's not coming back. Time is so precious. So that's why in my book, I share 8 authentic steps to help each leader show up in their truth, and just being okay with like who you are and what your story is, and show up in that and lead with that, because people will your team will attract to that, because that's who you are, right?
What is the most important step out of those 8 steps?
The huge thing, I would say clarity of who you are as a leader.
Right.
Because I think, Steve, when we're not clear, it's literally just doing circles. Like
that's true.
Yeah, like you're pivoting, but then you're going backwards like each time, right?
Yeah. Vision. You need your vision to be clear, right? Where there's no vision, people perish. And as a leader, you want to make sure that vision is clear as well, and you can see it, because if you can see it, you can believe in it. If you can believe in it, you can do it. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, totally. And it's like and it's not even like I could be clear, right?
Yeah.
What I usually say is like when I'm clear, I need to get more clear because what I am seeing, I need to interpret it for the people that I'm leading
Yeah.
and make it kind of simplify it in a way that they understand like, okay, this is the vision
Yeah.
and what do they see,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And totally. You need to learn the language to speak, and so that you can communicate in their language and relate to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So basically, it's a matter of being very great at adjusting to communication frequencies, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I always give this example of Moses in the Bible. So if you're listening to this interaction, you're familiar with the story of Moses in the Bible. So basically, Moses was a leader that was chosen by the God. I mean, the God that we call the ultimate God of the Jews who were slaves in Egypt. Many years ago. And Moses was chosen to go and liberate them from the hands of slavery into the promised land, which was Canaan. And the way Moses led them was ultimately through the message he got, or the instructions, should I say, he got from God. So what he would do, part away from the group, go on the mountain, download the message, literally, got the message, and then actually interpret it, onto commandments, and then come into to the crowd, right? So that's what you're saying. So as a leader, first, there's gotta be a level of clarity when you download that information, okay, to yourself. All right. You gotta first understand that message, get clear on that, and then process it, dilute it, so that it can now be clear to the people you are leading. Am I correct in that?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And you simplified it. I love it. Oh wow. It's like very easy to understand. I love that. Well put.
Thank you. Well, Rasie Bamigbade. All right. I love that. I love the song, it's Bram, like it goes like Bamigbade, Bami,
Every song. Oh, that's so
Okay, so Bamigbade, right? Here's what I want to ask you, okay? And what I'm about to ask you, I think it's a very, very important question because look, I work a lot with young people, all right, from all over the world, from Ghana, America, and in my drive, okay, and I believe that my purpose is not only to spread a message that will lift the youth up and give them the tools. And I'm not talking about tools. I'm not talking about only knowing how. I'm talking about ultimate wisdom. All right. I'm talking about sharpness. I'm talking about the clarity. I'm talking about to give them those tools so that they can face their own lives. And again, go where they are not coming from, leave a trail. Okay. So talking about young people, I'm gonna narrow it down to young girls. Okay. So you let me in earlier on. Is it okay if I release your age?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So tan. Ladies and gentlemen, Rasie Bamigbade is 32 years old. There, I said it, right? She's 32, she's not 22. I know you're saying that you think she's 22. I fell for it also, right? She's 32 years old. Well, Bamigbade, if there's a young girl that's looking at you right now, listening to this, that's in her 18s or 16 or 20s, right? And there's this group of young girl that has a glimpse. What do I mean by a glimpse? She has that little spark, that little light at the end of the time. She's like, you know what? I think I can also be something, but life circumstances are pinning her down. And then there's this one that this is lost. Okay, she's lost. She doesn't know where to go, what to do, what not to do, because there's no inners of this world. There's no mentorship. Okay. Now, if you, as a leadership coach right now, you are talking to these kind of young girls, these kind of two groups, okay, what will be the 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 steps? What will be the key pillars you can drop with them, you can live with them right now today, so that when they listen to you, they'll feel like, oh, they know that, you know what, this part is mine. Whether it becomes black or white, this part is mine. Whether it's dark or blue, this part is mine. Whether it's day or night, this part is mine. What can you drop with them, as Rasie, Bamigbade?
Oh, I would say love yourself. Love yourself unconditionally.
Mm,
Um, that like when I look back on my life, and I think of 18-year-old me, and I think of those group of girls, you know, regardless of color, I would say self-love. It's super, super important
mm,
because when you unconditionally love yourself, you start to control who is in your environment.
okay,
It's super important.
okay.
Um,
Rasie, I mean, sorry to jump in there, right? But I needed to jump in right away while you were talking about this because the concept of self-love nowadays is out there, all right? Like everybody is talking self-love, self-love,
mhm,
self-love, all right, cool. But I want you to please elaborate a little bit. Just dive one level, below. Like,
yes.
what is self-love? What does it mean to love yourself? Does it mean, I mean, if I buy ice cream for myself every day, does that mean I love myself? If I wear fine clothes, does that mean I love myself? Or if I smoke weed, does that mean I love myself? What does it mean to practice self-love?
For me, so I'll give an example is I know what's important to me, what keeps me going.
All right.
So that's where my form of self-love comes from. My
Okay.
biggest asset is my energy. I have a very high energy.
Okay.
Steve, you're on a whole other level of the energy.
All right.
Um, but so I feed that. So that's like my way of expressing my self love because I know when I'm on high energy, anything is possible.
All
I
right.
can move at a I can move at a speed I desire, and I can reach results sooner because of my high energy. So
Yeah.
what I do in a form of self love, for instance, for example, I go to bed early. I'm in bed 9:30, 10 latest each night,
Okay.
except if I'm away like visiting family or stuff like that.
Mm.
But and I wake up early. I'm out of bed at 4 a.m. in the morning, and that's how I feed my energy, and that's how I self-care for myself and love myself, right? But the thing is, when let's say for instance, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work all day and not go exercise or not meditate or not do yoga, I am depleting my energy, and that I'm taking away the love and the care that I have for my body and increasing my energy level. I don't know if like that, like that makes sense.
No, yeah, yeah.
But that's like my form of self love,
Okay.
and it fills up my cup. And when my cup is full, I'm able to help other people. So that's how where that it translates.
Okay.
Because if I'm not at my high energy, at my best self, I'm not able to deliver on the result at a certain speed for my clients, right? So it's almost like it's all connected. When I go to bed at a certain time or wake up at a certain time, I'm delivering on these results that I've promised to each of my clients.
Right. Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Rasie Bamigbade just said it, ladies and gentlemen, or should I say, ladies, that your key, all right, your foundation, your rock is love yourself. So if you don't love yourself, we cannot talk about leadership. If you do not love yourself, we cannot talk about truth. Because you know what? Know your truth, and your truth shall set you free. Okay. So what Russell Community is trying to say, ladies, is that you've got to know your values. Okay. You got to know what your strengths are and live based on your strength. Okay. So that when you practice that lifestyle from your strength perspective, you fill your cup, you feel fulfilled, and you are able to be that rock for others. Am I correct on that, Rasie?
Yes, it keeps
Right.
flowing. Overflow. Like your energy, Steve.
Listen, we arriving at the end almost. Okay. What I want to ask you is, where do people find you? How does your work, go? And this book, when is it gonna release? And where do people find it?
So my book actually launched on April the 26th. Yeah, so it's out there and it's a bestseller already. So I'm gonna leave my your audience and my new audience with this. So if you're ready to shift and take action and pave the way for the next generation, you take that very seriously, you can purchase my book on Amazon. So, and that's 8 steps to help you show up in your most authentic self in your leadership journey. And the second thing is I have a freebie for everybody that's listening right now. If you want to and ready to jumpstart your leadership journey, you can go to rbjumpstartcoaching.com/ebook offer. I'll say that again, rb.jumpstart.coaching/ebook offer for your gift.
All right. Okay, great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will put that link in the link will be below the video so that you can just click and download this free ebook, right? It's all the way from Rasie herself in the flesh. You're gonna get it. All right. So what you're gonna do if you're looking for the 8 steps to release your authentic self when it comes to leadership, for you to discover, tap in, utilize, make use of, and explode into the world with your truth when it comes to leadership, what you're gonna do right now is go onto Amazon and look for Rasie Bamigbade, Leading from Your Truth. No, Leading Your Truth is the title of the book, and get it, is already a bestseller. And I can tell you something, the stories in there are going to blow your mind. All right, Rasie, what is your last word for people?
Ooh, the time is now. The time is now. And if you're whatever situations you're in, just remember there's always a way. There's always a way. You just have to look up, look to your side, or look behind you and find the way through.
All right, all right. Whatever situation you are in, there is always a way, right? If you believe it, then you can do it. Right? Yeah, I love that. I love the Rasie. I love the Rasie. So there you have it. On those words, I am excited, feel passionate, and exploding of energy that wherever you are, whatever the situation is, whatever the circumstance is, you gotta know and believe there's always a way. Not because you cannot see the way makes the way in existence. Right? Because that's the trap, Rasie, and I love the fact that you brought that up at the end of the interview. That because usually we think there's no way because we cannot see the way. But guess what Albert Einstein said? That the mind that has brought you this far cannot take you to the next destination you want to be, isn't it? Right. Yeah. That's why you need to have the right people around you. That's why you need to involve the right eyes, the right brain to look at it from a different perspective so that they can see what you do not see, isn't it? Oh yeah,
100%.
Right. So you had Rasie Bamigbade was on Ignite Transformation TV talking about her brand new book, Leading Your Truth. And this book is inspired from a life journey that is mind-blowing. As a young girl that relocated from Sierra Leone in times of war to Canada, she knew what it was to navigate your way as a young Black girl, to try to rise to the top. And it is no secret that it's tough out there. She's seen it all, she's been through it all, she's done it all. And to leave a message out there, to leave a blueprint for you that's trying to rise to the top as well, and everything keep falling apart. She puts it in a book so that you can read it, you can hold that key for yourself. Don't let nobody tell you what it's about. Don't let nobody tell you, oh, I read the book, it's about. No, go and get it today because your truth is your truth, my truth is my truth. Isn't that so, Rasie?
Yes, 100%, 100%.
Go and get your book, okay? So if you haven't gotten anything out of this interview today, well, I will tell you what you can get out. It's what Rasie said at the end, that whatever circumstances you are in, there's always the way. All right. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stephen Dosu, all the way from Togo. Hey, I'm a speaker, coach, and co-founder of Leadership University and founder of Self-Discovery, the platform that brings coaches and speakers together to use emotional intelligence, not the transformation in the life of you, your cousin, your mama, and your papa. So on that note, we're gonna close this interview right now. My name is Steven. This is Remember to do great, and I will see you at the top. Bye bye.